FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
We spent the night at a nearby campground filled with deadheads and got on the road the next morning for the last leg of the trip to Oxford Speedway. Of course, by the time we got near the Speedway, there was already a huge backup of cars waiting to enter the venue. As soon as we hit the traffic jam, I was out the door of the bus with my index finger waving in the air, the Deadhead sign that I needed a ticket. I wasn't stressed out about driving 9 hours to a concert I didn't have a ticket to, and I certainly wasn't going to let it dampen my spirits. I knew that the lower the situation brought you, the less chance you had of scoring what you wanted. I was full of faith in my good dead karma. And frankly, given the amazing scene we'd just driven into, there was nothing to feel down about. At the very least, we'd just arrived at the best party in the country. As I walked along the string of cars, people pulled me aside to ask for drugs, to pass me joints, to try to hand me beers, which I didn't take, juice, fruit, and to offer advice on who might have tickets. A dude just went by here a half hour ago selling tickets. But I wasn't about to deal with scalpers, and they were the ones who tended to be out actively selling tickets at that time. Scalpers scum, we called them. There were even bumper stickers that read, "Die Scalper Scum," which was as harsh a declaration as you were likely to see at a dead show. Scalpers were making money off the scene in a way that we found repellent and lecherous. Deadheads weren't scalpers and didn't buy tickets from scalpers. I would have rather missed the show than buy a ticket off a scalper. I wasn't looking for a miracle ticket either. The miracle ticket was a phenomena unique to dead shows. Nobody was shocked to see deadheads holding up signs asking for a free ticket. Nor did people who gave out miracles expect any reciprocation other than a hug and the knowledge that you had just made somebody's day. In fact, it wasn't uncommon to hear about richer deadheads who bought extra tickets for the sheer joy of laying a miracle on someone else. Of course, deadheads love the principles of karma and synchronicity, too. You get what you need when you need it, and you leave the rest behind. So while no reciprocity was expected, it also wouldn't have been surprising to hear about something groovy happening to the person who gave out the miracle. That was just the way it worked. "Hey man, you need a ticket?" "Yeah," I replied, bouncing happily on the toes of my Converse All-Stars. I was dressed in Guatemalan shorts and my favorite Dead t-shirt. A picture of keyboardist Brent Midland leaning back and to the left while he wails out a solo. It was the only Brent shirt I'd ever seen. While the rest of the band remained stable, the Dead had something of a keyboardist's curse. Pigpen was the original Dead keyboardist, but his skills were isolated to the blues. As the Dead got further out with their sound, Tom Constantine, or TC, was brought in to add more complex keyboard arrangements to the early Dead albums, Anthem of the Sun and Aoxoa Moxoa. TC toured with the Dead from 1968 to 1970 and helped them during a difficult transition time when Pigpen's alcoholism was increasingly debilitating. With TC gone and Pigpen in terrible shape, the Dead hired Keith Godshaw to fill the keyboard slot. His wife, Donna Jean Godshaw, also joined the band, becoming the Dead's only female band member. Pigpen died from alcohol-induced internal hemorrhaging shortly after the couple joined the band. Keith and Donna toured for most of the 70s until they finally parted ways with the band in 1979. Keith was replaced by Brent Midland. Particularly during the late 80s, Brent was bringing more energy to the Dead than anyone else on stage. He was troubled, obviously, but he was also pushing Jerry to new heights and kicking Bobby into spastic vocal contortions that sounded pretty cool at the peak of, say, Estimated Profit or Let the Good Times Roll. My tour family adored Brent. $50. Scalper scum. "No thanks, man. I don't buy from scalpers." "There's no tickets around. I just saw someone selling one for $75. You're not going to find one cheaper than $50. "Maybe not," I smiled, bouncing and dancing off down the traffic jam, "but I don't buy from scalpers." It wasn't an act, not a bluff. I was as happy as I've ever been and didn't worry for a second that I wouldn't get into the show. But by showtime the next day, I still didn't have a ticket. There was no question about what the rest of the family would do. Everyone got shut out of a show at some point. Soon enough, it was time for them to go inside the Speedway, leaving me outside the gates to see what I could pull off at the last minute. I lingered around one of the Speedway entry areas with my finger in the air, hoping for that random kind head who was holding a ticket for someone who never showed up. Inside the Speedway, the band started into Iko Iko, hands down my favorite upbeat dance tune opener for an outdoor summer show. Outside the show, I bounced, I grinned, I danced, I waved my finger in the air and hopped around in circles, giddy with even the echoes of what was taking place inside. And then I saw it. Some head who'd already gone into the show was poking a full ticket at me through the chain-link fence. The ticket takers hadn't torn his ticket. Without a word between us, I bolted over, flashed a peace sign, neither one of us wanting to draw any attention to the exchange, snagged a ticket and zipped back to the left through the gate and into the show. I was in. Hey now, Iko on day, Giacomo fino anane, Giacomo finane. These were nonsense lyrics that meant conditions were perfect for a transcendent few hours of music and celebration.